Good morning, everyone. This is BizChicks TV. This is the place where you can find tips and tools to help you do business better. We're here to help you run a profitable business that's fun to run and to take the hassle out of your hustle. And today we are here with Coach Caren Fern, all the way from Toronto, Canada. It is so great to have her in the house. And Coach Caren comes to us with all kinds of experience in a variety of businesses. She's run child care centers. Well, let me say this: she's owned child care centers. She's owned a profitable, what would you call it, retail sales business for clothing, and just been in the food industry. She has touched many industries. So if you have questions, be sure to put them in the chat. She'd
Yes.
love to share some of that expertise and wisdom with you. Before we get started, I want to give a shout out to my partner, Ms. Francine Gregory, real estate entrepreneur and tech diva. I'm Terralina from California Cover Ups, and we're the Biz Chicks. So welcome, welcome, welcome to Profits in Daily with Coach Caren Fern. How's everybody? I see we got people over here on the live stream. We just want to give a shout out to you. We want to encourage you that if you have not already, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Just got our handle yesterday for Biz Chicks. So we're excited about that over there on YouTube.
Yes. Oh, yes, I saw my email. I got to read something that, I got my email. Yeah.
So, Carrie, how you doing this morning?
Hi, Carrie.
And all of you watching live and on the replay, welcome to the conversation. So, Coach, what do you have for us today?
So today we're finishing up the planning. And all last month we talked about planning. We had a little interlude. So that's why we're spilling over to this month. And we're finishing up because we want to talk about, what would make you the happiest once you accomplish this planning goal and seeing forward for what could be. We want to talk about where you go from there and who would you be? Who would you meet? Who would you see? Who would you want to mentor? And who would you want to mentor or coach you? Because now that you've gotten this down path and you understand the things that you need to really look into and get done, now it's time to just start looking forward to the movement. So I'm going to share my screen immediately and just walk you through some of what we talked about last week, and then we can get back into it. Because once you get to see it, it helps you to the visual. I like visuals, so most people do too. So we're just gonna do a little visualization. Okay, where am I? Why were we? Oh, I went to settings. Sorry, guys. Instead of presentation, I was like, what am I doing over here? So we're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna go into Excel. I'm gonna share the screen and we're gonna walk through it. So last week I talked here about this specific business at the time, and I'd walk you through. So let's get from page 1 so we can get back here. I'd walk you through the big plan, like the grand idea. You put it down, you have it set up there. Because we've done all the planning before, we're just talking about this. Hey guys, you want to know the rest, you can go back and check it out. And then we go through the breakdown of all the things that has to happen so that we know we're following what we decide to do with our business. And we're not getting up each day and wondering what to do because we're planning out and we know what has to happen. We're research, we're resourcing, all these sort of things. And then we got to the financials and we talk about what we invested, what kind of monies we make off of it initially, and then the continually, and then the upgrade eventually. And this is a growth. The reason I'm showing you all this is to showcase to you the growth system. Everything takes time to grow and get themselves where it need to be. It's not a quick fix. It's you doing what you say you're going to do regularly, and then the magic seems to happen because you are doing it. And that's the key. You got to be doing it. You can't just sit there and wish it could happen. You have to be doing it. So I can't remember if we tap on this a little bit. I think I did. We talk about this was a client business and it's still in existence. And this is where she started. Now, this client has a full-time job where she makes her money to pay her bills, but she's a little short and she always wanted to do something on the side. So she started making these pies and having them sell. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because once you get planning done, then you see what space you have to do the
Mm-hmm.
things you want to do, right? You get to really see that these things are possible. And so I wanted to come in here and just showcase this is so let me carry this up so you can see what I'm talking about. This is the
Yes.
revenue that was created the first time. So you can see we set it up. No transaction cost. This is the expense. This is tied and savings, and everybody do things differently, but this is just what I'm showcasing here. The business profits, how much she's paying herself, and that was September. Okay, we went into October because I'm not going to tell you about November yet. You went into October, and she increased the prices because that was just a tester to see what would stand, and she increased the prices 35 to 40 pies. I really wanted to say, and she sold because we are keeping track of that, which means she's making more money here and she's able to the expense because some left over. Also, she didn't have to spend 900. She spent about $700 because 200 with something in there that she doesn't have to repeatedly buy. That's permanent fixture. And that's the thing with business. Okay. I'm going to pause right here and I can get back to the screen. That's the thing with business, right? There
Mm-hmm.
comes a time where you do a lot of the foundational money that you spend, and then
Mm-hmm.
each month you're not spending as much anymore. When that happens, I encourage my clients to now set up a sheet in Excel where they're paying back. So she also has a sheet where she's paying back for that permanent stuff like the sealer she's paying herself back for. And so we set that up. So the sealer was $200. She's paying that back, $25 every sale. She got to pay that back in less than 2 weeks,
Okay.
and then whatever is the other item that is permanent that is not going anywhere. So she did do a bunch of printed out with flyers and stuff, and that was a big investment upfront. So now she's going to pay herself back for that. What I'm trying to showcase here is you don't have to keep getting yourself buried in debt. You have to take action. So when you plan out what you're going to do, you actually have to get up and do it. Now, we had this discussion, and she were trying to tell me how much time she doesn't have, and so we start focusing on that and we start focusing on the time she does have and only work within that time slot, not trying to carve out more time. But because she's working now diligently versus just trying to figure out what to do, she's actually seeing progress. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
you're in so it started in September, this is November, so it's 2 months old in this specific section of our business, and she's already added a second item to to the scenario, and we're researching the third item to see testing that out. So income is going to go up. She had some other debts that really drive her to do this also, that she was struggling to pay from the salary. And one of the things I wanted her to do is to stop feeling that she's living in this place of just poorness and just no abundance, and just I'm gotta scrape my last dollar, which makes her body just get into either feeling sick or something is happening because she's worrying. This is the thing you have to understand. People worry, and even if it's subconsciously, they are worrying, and so many things happen when you're worried. So you're stressing yourself out. You're stressing yourself out.
Wow. Wow. I think yesterday we were teaching the Smart Money class, which is a biblically based class. And one of the reasons we found why we're not prospering is because we are not rejoicing in all things of abundance.
Yes, yes.
We, you know,
You
this is
have
a
to.
mindset.
Yes, you have to. You have to rejoice in it. And as business owners, if you're going to sell food, you need to set up. Well, as Terry let you guys know, I used to do food. And when you're doing food, you can't get yourself worried about what's not left over. You have to have plan A, B, and C. And what I mean is, if you have precious items where it can be transferred over to the second day, then you want to have a place to distribute that which left over, just in case. And B, you want to have a place where you cater for giving away. At the end of the day, one of the things I came up with when I had my food business, I
Hmm.
live and I worked out of my home. And I had at the time kids who were the parents were regular buyers. They know at the end of the day, they can come see Caren and they're going to get some treats.
Nice. Hmm.
They're gonna get some treats. And it also would do little things for them, like on a Sunday. I had started it once a month. I just tested it out, and it was so popular that I did this thing all year long. I would have this kind of I call it like a concert, but what it was is kids would pay to see another kid do something, and there'll be this
Like
fun
a little
activity
talent show.
happening. Yes, and then at the end of the talent show, you'll get a goodie bag to go away with, and you might win some money too. Because if you're
Mm.
really talented and a lot of people pool in and like your show, it's split, which means they get some of the money and I keep some. And I really keeping it for the purpose of buying them things for the next treat. It really didn't go in my pocket. It's just supposed to
Yeah.
keep this up going. And we started off with 6 kids. And my mom said to me, I'm gonna have to get a bigger house or what? Where are you getting all these kids from? Because kids are telling kids,
The kids, they're bringing their friends.
they're bringing their friends. My mom house was so packed one Sunday that it was out in the balcony, in the little veranda we call it, and everybody was out there, and everybody wanted, what's going on? It was so packed because, and this is the kind of fun I wanted to see your business now. That was
Hmm.
just my motto, but you can do whatever you need to do to have this sort of, you're giving back. It's fun. You really enjoy it. You really getting to do what you set out to do, right? So what would make you the happiest if you accomplish it? And these are the things I was happy about when I accomplished what I set out to do. And this client of mine right now is happy because not only is she doing this, but she had to hire somebody because she couldn't do everything. And the person is happy. A person is retired but needed an extra change in her purse, and this is provided it for the person, and they are on time. She's like, Karen, some days even if I don't want to get up and get it done, she's there early, 6:30, she's there. She's roaring to go. She really wants to do this, and she's has good ideas. So you never know who you're going to be helping also when get your business going. And if she wasn't organized, she couldn't hire her, because when the employee comes, you have to tell her what to do. This. Here we're gonna set up, we're gonna get this done, or what have you. So you want to
Yes.
get things in place. This is why we talk about planning. This is
Mm.
really why we're talking about planning. Planning helps you to come into work, because most businesses, you're a laborer at this point until you establish yourself. And while you're
Mhm.
a laborer, you want to come into work. You don't want to come and say, I own a business, I don't have to do anything. You actually want to come into work and do the work because you plan to do the work.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, you have a different attitude when things are organized. It's
Yes.
so much easier.
It is. It is. It makes you want to go do stuff. And then you get to ask the question, so where would I go from there? Like what's next? Like what's the next level? Like what happens now? And for her, we're talking about, once we vet everything through, how does she get a second employee? What would
Mm.
they do? How are they going to be able, how is she going to pivot with this? What does she need? So she need 2 employees, one more to pivot and one to come in and do the domestic duties, because now we got to take that away from her. So she's not taken up with cleaning and cooking and that sort of thing, because she's got a full-time job.
Yes,
She's running a
indeedy.
business. So the reason I go so deep into money and where it goes and what happened is so that she can see that she can afford to have somebody come in, not whenever,
Mhm.
but somebody come in. We're talking about every 2 weeks, somebody come in and do the general clean, do a lot of prep work for her, so that she's a single parent, so that she and her son can get in there and put together what the person is going to set up. And she's testing her out right now. So this is good to see. She's got about 3 people in the line, in the works, to test out to see who's going to come and help her with the domesticated work, the washing. So she need washing, she need cleaning
Mhm.
up, and she need prep. And so when you're planning, you get to see also the things you need, the things that you need personally, and the things that your business need. And
Mhm.
so you don't feel overwhelmed. We're trying so that you don't get burnout. We want you to live in your abundance. We want you to prosper. We don't want you to burn out because you plan so much that you can't do the work. That's not what we want you to do.
So you're over planned? Can you over planned, coach?
I think so, if you're not taking action. I think if you're
Okay.
not taking action.
Or you just planning, planning,
Yeah,
planning,
planning. Yeah,
and you
yeah.
never execute.
Exactly.
I
For
see.
this, yeah, for this specific client, it's like we talked about it, and yes, it was hard for her to actually move on it, but I let her know what's going to happen, and I did pause coaching for a month. I said, we're not meeting so we can hammer out the same thing. You either take action or we take a break.
Well, we take a break till you're ready. Yeah.
Yeah. And she came back saying, I prayed about it, and what you said makes sense. And if I cry about the situation I'm in, I can't move. But just the movement has shifted so many other things.
Mm-hmm.
Again, the domesticated help came and asked for the job. The girl, we talked about it. We weren't ready yet for her, but the person reached out and said, "Hey, I need a job. You're hiring," because she'd hired before. She'd had her own business before, and
Okay.
so one of the things is because she was organized enough to say, "Hey, for the first month, let me see how things go, and then you can come on board." So she came on. She's coming on board this week. Yeah, this is the beginning of the month. She's coming on board this week, and she's going to be helping in that area.
Nice.
But that's because she set out the money. She took action.
Mm.
If you plan all that I was talking about this whole week, hi Cecilia, good morning.
How you doing?
So we talked about all that planning that she did. And then now
Hmm.
she took action. We sat down and we decide what her hours of work is. And that means how long it takes her to get to work and come back home. I also wanted her to measure her energy level. Like, how are you feeling when you come back in? Are you tired and exhausted? Which is the days that you can be physically able to do the business. And also the other part was little notebooks because she wasn't ready yet to be on the computer. And I'm not fighting anybody on the computer. People can be in the computer when they're ready. She has a computer, but she needs right now, she needed just pen and paper. And so she
Mm.
needed to tally and write down every tiny bit of thing what happened today, how I feel, what I sell, how was the customers, how did we greet them, so that she can improve on that. And people are telling people, so people are coming now like regulars. So because it sells in the morning, it's breakfast lunch situation, and people will just say, give me the regular. 2 months and they think they're regulars, but this is how happy they are with the product
Hmm.
and the customer service. They're happy with the product and the customer service. Those are two
Wow.
important things in your business. Tweak that. It's not like you might have a bad product. Sometimes you just need tweaking.
Yes. Yeah,
Just
I love that.
tweaking. And if you know to speak with your customers, it's really crazy what would happen. When you know to talk to your customers, you don't have to be afraid to sell them
Mm.
anything.
Mm-mm.
You don't have to be afraid. Because when she wanted to raise the prices, because we went over the ingredients, and she says, "Karen, I can't sell it at that price." I said, "Well, that was the introductory price." And you let
Mhm.
them know this was testing the waters. You say to them, "This is what's going to be." And the first week, for sure, sales went down, but it went right back up the second and the third week. People understood. She didn't hide. She got out there and she talked to them,
And people
and they
adjusted.
sure, and they adjusted and they said, okay, so the people who will buy three would buy two instead. And then they went
Mhm.
back up to the three because they're like, okay, let me see how it fits in my budget. Because it helps me. In the morning, I know that I or my wife don't have to worry about this. We come in, we get our stuff, and we're out of there. Because she's doing healthy versions, she's doing regular versions, so she's giving everybody a choice
Uh-huh.
in her product. And you have to want to talk to people. When somebody say I'm an introvert, and she is, I understand. But if you're going to be in business, you got to talk to people. You got
Mhm.
to be the face, and then you could have other people. When you're starting out, you're the face. Whatever energy you bring to the table, that's what they get. You don't have to be me, bubbly and jumping up and down. You just be who you are, and that's who they'll like. Those are your people. You don't have to be Terralina. That's you're not Terry. You're just you. Be you, and you will see the rewards. I promise you. If you try to be somebody else,
It's not going to work.
not going to work.
And people know whether or not it's authentic or not. And because, and for one thing, a lot of times your customers have already been interacting with you
Right.
because they're friends or family or
Yep.
they see you around and they know what your real personality is.
They know. They know. When I had my daycare center, I sell my first arpeggios to my daycare parents, and they all were just rooting for me. I mean, they went to their jobs and they would tell people about it, and I would get sales off of that. They all were just excited because they've never seen such stylish PJs, and they were just crazy. It was warm, it was double knitted and flannel, and Canada's cold, so people would buy 2 to 3 pairs one time for their kid and their niece or friend, a lot of birthday and Christmas gifts. I mean, I was crazy busy on sales by being, involved with the parents and talking to them. So
Hmm. There you go.
you want to have good customer service. You
Yes.
If somebody have a complaint, you want to really find out what's the problem. Don't run away from it. Face it. It's important. They're telling you something. You need them. They're telling you something.
Yes, and this may help you with future sales or future
Mm-hmm.
customers and
Yes.
repeat business from that customer.
Yes. Yes. It helps. Like for instance, I used to put in a half an inch elastic in the pants for the younger kids, and that was fine. But when the kids get up, I needed to put in a inch elastic.
Wider.
Yes, wider. So it kept them, especially for kids who had a little bit of size. And a lady who was referred to me asked me, and I said, I don't have them right now, but I'll do them for you. And Terry, because I was willing to take the pants back and change the elastic, I sold six more to her and her friends because I
Wow.
wasn't complaining about I got to take them back and put in the elastic. I just did what I had to do. And she was just so gracious and thankful. She says, because it's really hard for me to go into stores and find pajamas because they're a little more chunky and they're still kids.
Oh.
And
Mm-hmm.
so, these my sizes were always extra because I give room for when they wash it and it shrink. And I had all these consideration going on. I used to have these little cards explaining what can happen. And parents appreciated it. I even had a parent who said to me, Card, yeah, it's custom made, sort of kind of pajamas you have. So here's my idea of what I'd like for mine. And I given it to other parents where I'd make the hem like 2 inches longer, but I'll
Mm.
hem it in place. And then when the kid grow, they just loose the hem down.
Let it
And
out.
yeah. And that was another feature that because of parents and me talking to them, I was able to
Mm-hmm.
offer that. Again, send the sales up because I'm listening. Okay. Don't be afraid when people give you, great feedback. You don't have to
Mm-hmm.
use everything, but ones that you can use, go ahead. Go ahead. Use them. Use them.
This is good.
Use them. And then, number three, like who would you want to meet? You know,
Mm.
I'm not very a starstruck person, so meeting people is not a big deal for me. Excuse me. I guess maybe in the big sense of what people think, but a business person, yes. And people who has done very well, yes. Like my dad was a really good businessman, so I had really great discussions with him. I love talking to him about business and how it's constructed and why. And I'll tell you, one of the things he always talk about, he never just dive into the business. He always talk about stories and how he end up there and what happened and the people he'd meet. He used to be a shoe designer, and he got into that skill not because he was a shoe designer. He ended up helping somebody else and then realizing that he had this skill. This is the other thing about when you plan and put it into action, you find out that you've got built-in skill that God has given you didn't tap into yet. That's why you got to take
Absolutely.
action. That's why you got to take action. He said, I became a shoe designer because I didn't know I had this skill. And then I realized that I was good at it. I didn't realize it initially. He said, first I was like, he said, then I send the design and the shoe builder factory, the guy there, he said, Paul, this is good stuff. How long you been designing shoes? And my dad says, Karen, I just sat in my library, I was thinking like, design shoes. This is like my first time, and end up being
Mm-hmm.
a good business. And so that's what I like. Talking to people from different genres, like real estate agents, real estate developers. They got stories, they'll talk to you about different things. And you start meeting different people. Go to meetups, you meet accountants, you meet people who own franchises, people who had owned other big businesses, people who not even in business anymore, but they love the camaraderie. And so they got stories for you. You could learn something. And most of them don't mind if you ding them. Once you had a good conversation, you're not trying to sell them anything at that moment. You're just trying to investigate how you could be better. They want to help.
Mm-hmm.
People don't want to help you when you're trying to push something at them or trying to get something out of them. But when you
Yes.
just want to ask genuinely about business, people will tell you. People just talk with you. People just tell you. They'll just tell you. This guy is a multimillionaire here. And I remember he tell me, he said I can call him anytime. And I called him because I didn't think that he was going to take my car. He took my car because I didn't realize it was his personal cell. It was his
Mm.
personal cell. And we talk about where I was, what I want to do. And he says, Karen, you're not ready yet. Don't jump that way. I don't want you to lose money. It sounds great. It sounds good, but you're not ready yet. And I took his advice because I wasn't ready yet. I wasn't
Mm-hmm.
emotionally and mentally ready yet. I wanted to. And he says, when you're not like that, you're going to lose physically. So I want you to wait and I want you to do X, Y, and Z. And he was right. So, listen, you don't have to do everything they say, but you have to also go inside yourself to see if you seek somebody out, if they're really, giving you good information. And then if you need a mentor or coach, look
Mm-hmm.
around, investigate, get one of those in your back pocket. Maybe you're not ready for it right away, but 6 months down the road, you save for it. So that when you get the coach, you're not panicking that, oh my God, the coach is charging me X amount of money, I can't afford it. You've saved for the 6 months, you've set aside knowing that you're gonna need time to do the work, and you're glad to pay the coach because the coach is gonna enhance what you're already doing. and you're going to grow from there. And it's not this grudgy feeling. I let people go who feel that they're pulling and they can't afford to pay. It's okay. They're not ready yet. They need to go and figure out some things before they come back and work with me, you know. And if that's for themselves too, because they just don't have the time. And some people, I literally would say, you need therapy. You don't need a coach now. Maybe you need a coach later, but you need therapy because the kind of work that you are showcasing that you need, it's not a coach,
Mm-hmm.
it's a therapist.
Wow. Okay. Well, I hadn't expected that.
I had a few of those in my time.
Oh my. Yeah. Yeah.
you know, you know.
Sometimes when people are so anxious or whatever that they
Mhm.
can't really concentrate or focus.
Yes,
They're
yes,
going through something in their personal life.
yes.
And so you have to assess where you really are, right,
Hmm.
Coach?
Hmm.
Before you start trying to run a business
Yes,
or jump into the world of work. You need
hmm,
to know who you are, where you're going, and what.
yes,
Yes,
yeah,
and feel confident. I think that's
yes,
the word I'm looking for.
yeah, yeah,
Confident that you can achieve these things.
yes,
Because
yes.
it's
Yes, and if it's ebbs and flow, at least you're halfway there in the feeling because there's times we're not going to feel confident and time we think things is not going to work. And so
mhm.
that's part of life. That's not going to just disappear. But if you're planning and you're taking action, I mean, you can't you definitely can't imagine. I was laughing talking to my eldest son. It's like we talking about age and like I couldn't see myself in my 50s. I've only seen myself as a teenager and in my 20s because that's where I was at the time. Whatever we were talking about was in my 20s. So I was
Uh-huh.
happy to be there. When I hit my 30s, I almost feel like it's a shocking thing to me. Not because I didn't expect to live. It's just this in my head, I didn't see myself there because I had lived a lot of life by the time I hit my 30s. I think that was one of the reasons why, you know, 40s was a terrible year for me. When I hit my 40s, I think I went in full blown depression. I didn't do anything for a full year. There's another reason I dated
Mhm.
making money because then I didn't work for a year and a half and I could sustain myself. But I had the means to do it. Let me tell
Yes.
you. But I just couldn't work. Like I was going through this hard place inside of me. And when I lost my dad, that took me another two. That took me out for 2 years. I'd show up online and do stuff, but I wasn't necessarily working. And whoever worked for me, they work. But I could see that business not doing as well. But I didn't care because I was just in this limbo place of
Hmm.
grief and all that sort of thing. So life happens to us. I want you to know life happened to each and every one of us.
I think a lot of people went through that recently during the um, last couple of years,
Yes,
you
yes,
know,
yes.
because it required a lot of shifting in so many areas at the same time.
Yes, and also whatever's happening as a unit in the whole world, it was on our each and every one of our shoulders.
Hmm. Hmm.
Everybody who had a death, and somebody who died, you felt it. A friend of a friend
Exactly.
who died, you felt it. I had a couple of friends lost siblings, and
Some people I know lost 6 and 7 people in the
yeah,
family. I mean, that's huge.
huge.
Uh, yeah, and they kept going. And I'm saying sometimes we keep going. We need to take some time to acknowledge our feelings. So,
Yes.
plan, put that in your planning. I'm
Hmm.
going to do
Give
this.
yourself the space. One of the worst things you can do in planning, and this month we're going to be talking about monthly, daily. We're going to go through these phases. And I really going to go. We finished the planning now, and we're actually going to dive into what do you do because I do the planning. I can't remember if I go into that, but this is important because sometimes you do it, you have the whole thing. I talk to you, and then you're like, so what do I do now? So that's what we're going to
Mhm.
dive into. I want you to see that you have to give yourself room and space. You need to build in vacation. You need to build in just
Yes,
rest time. Just close your eyes for a moment and breathe in time. You just need to be you and not try to feel that you got to put in 100 things for the day.
exactly.
You just don't. You just don't. Because you get burned out and you don't get anything done. Just don't get anything done. It's amazing what you can do in 6 to 4 hours that you will take 8 to 12 hours doing. I
Mhm.
promise you. And I'm a hard worker. And I've worked 14, 15, 20 hours work in my business. And then once I systemize, I
Oh.
know that I don't need that amount of time.
Hmm.
That's what it boils down to. Just
Yeah,
getting things so organized that you come in and you hit out, bam, 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 and you're meeting your financial goals, you're meeting your energy goals, you're meeting your emotional goals. You are, serving the Lord. You are meeting your spiritual goals, and you're happy the place you are, and you're not fighting to be where somebody else is because they are not you and you are not them. Very
exactly.
important.
Good advice, Coach. Well, we want to thank you so much because a lot of times some things are common sense, but we need to hear it. A lot of times we need to be reminded.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's always those nuggets that we had no idea that we needed like today. So and planning to give ourselves some space.
Yes, yes, yes.
That was crucial. I think
It is.
we need to be a little more gracious
Mm-hmm.
in light of all that we've been through,
Yeah.
because we may just be getting to the point where we feel safe to acknowledge that
Yes.
it was a challenge.
Yes.
Sometimes
Yes.
when you're
Yes.
in that in the lifeboat, you only want to think about
No, you cannot. No,
how
you
long
cannot.
can we row? Which
Yes.
you know what I mean? Which direction are we going?
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? You don't even want to think about it. And
I
quite
know, right?
frankly, we just reached dry land to a
Mm-hmm.
degree.
Yes.
And so, we might be a little stunned.
Mm-hmm.
So but thank
I,
you. Thank you for allowing us to take the time to put that into our
mm-hmm.
planning to
Yes.
get our footing and to
Mhm.
be gentle with
You're
ourselves.
right. Yes. Yes.
Okay, well, guys, I want you to know that you can find Coach Caren everywhere at Profits in Daily with Coach Caren. She has a YouTube channel. She has a Facebook channel, and we would love for you to follow her. We want you to know that you can also book an appointment with Coach Caren Fern, and she will allow you to do that by just direct messaging her over there on Facebook. We want you to know that when we bring these experts into your life, that they are willing to pour into you even more. Um, and Carrie says this was a refreshing view of business, Coach Karen.
Thank you.
Yes. So with that, we want to remind you that tomorrow we'll be talking with Robin Shimizu and friends. And I do believe that Linus is going to be on tomorrow.
Ooh.
Karen, yeah. Yeah. And she just became a grandmother again.
Ah,
So, yeah. So, congratulations,
congratulations.
Linus. Friday, we'll be talking tech in English with the Tech Diva Weekly. So you want to tune in and find out little nuggets about how to run a profitable business that's fun to run and to take the hassle out of your hustle.
Yes.
Guys, we want you to know it's okay to make money in your business, right,
Mhm.
Coach?
Yes.
It's okay. It's okay. You got to bring in revenue. You must
Yes.
charge your people.
Yes.
So many people have businesses that, oh no, it's okay. I can't take your money. No, you're in business to make a profit. Come on
Yes.
now, it's okay. And
It's
people
okay.
expect to pay for what they get.
Yes.
So with that, we want to remind you to go to the front of
Front
your
of your
own
own
mind.
mind.
We'll
Yes.
see you tomorrow.
Bye
Bye
bye.
bye, everyone. Thanks again, Coach.